Sorry. Ben, are you okay? It's okay now, Ben? Can I hear you? We can hear you. Try to use, check your microphone. Yeah. So, in the past, people got married early, right?
Yeah.
16.
And it was arranged marriage usually, like in his case.
Yeah. And yeah, so at first he wanted to let go of everything, but he got a son, so that's why he named him impediment, obstruction.
I mean, that just doesn't sound like a very nice thing to name your child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Rahula also becomes enlightened, though. It is a popular name with some Buddhists. Like
yeah,
like
no, I do know some.
Yeah.
I do know some.
Yeah.
All right. Siddhartha clearly, is that right? Siddhartha clearly felt some sense of loss at the prospect of abandoning his newborn child. For his final act before leaving was to enter the darkened room where his wife and son were sleeping. As Siddhartha gazed upon them, he felt the urge to pick up his son, but overcame his desire because he knew that this would awaken his wife, who would try to prevent his departure. He resolved to return to see the boy after he had gained enlightenment. So yeah, I mean, he felt bad. He's getting ready to leave his newborn child and his beautiful wife.
It's not easy, right?
I can't imagine in this like dream life that everyone has to go take on some really intense, difficult, almost life-ending spiritual practice.
So the Indian story or the tradition is that for the men, when they reach the age above, they may let go of everything to seek for a spiritual life, a spiritual path. But for him, because he observed the impermanence of life, so he want to take off, so that he seek for the truth spiritually. But somehow he got a son, so he got stuck here. Yeah. And like in our life, right? Sometimes we like to go somewhere else to work, right? But we may have some children who ever stay back there. It's not easy for us to depart from them, but we know one day we may go back to heaven out. Yeah. Ben, can you read, Ben? Yeah, check with your microphone. We cannot hear you yet. No. Oh, you take off that earphone. Yeah, take it out. Yeah, it's clear now. We can hear. Yeah, go ahead.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Boy, can we hear you?
Oh wow, okay. Sorry, this technology stuff. I'm just
I hear you.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this all together here.
Once again, there.
Close this. Okay, here we go. Once again, the emotional register of the narrative has shifted. The young man who first experienced disquiet and anxiety in the face of life's ills, and then a powerful, what is that word? Revulsion towards sensual desires, now recognizes the value of what he was leaving behind, even as he resolved to let nothing deter him from attaining his goal. In a sense widely illustrated throughout the Buddhist world, Siddhartha next mounted his horse and fled to the palace with his faithful chariot driver.
Chandika.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Chandika.
Okay. Chandika. Clinging to the horse's tail, superhuman beings intervened by holding the horse's hooves suspended above the ground to prevent the sleeping city from waking.
Okay, stop. That's enough. Can you summarize? So you got that? So it's not easy for him to leave things behind, right? It's pretty challenging, right? But somehow he make the determination to live. So for someone who just have this newborn child, it's not easy to live, right? It's our responsibility. But for him, because he was a prince, he knew that when he left, his fathers, as a king of the whole court, would take care of his wife and son. But remember, he will not run away, but he want to seek for the truth at the beginning, not the day that that his son was born. So this is the sin, right? That the sin that sorry. I show how actually no, we don't have the image that yet. So that's later on in the other Buddhist country like Burma, Thailand, and so forth. They allow the youth or the children, even at the age of 7 up, to become a novice in the temple, and that's a big deal for the communities. It's pure in this no just in this country, right?
Yeah.
But they have the training center to train those young novices. So later on, when they 21-year-old, they could take the full ordination, become a fully Buddhist monk. Or some of them, they may go back to their lay life. So yeah, yeah. And can you read An?
Sorry, thầy. I can only my little phone. I cannot see. Yeah, it's máy chỉ cho phúc học.
Okay. You like to read? Can you read? You like to enjoy? This one, can you read here? Too small. Yeah.
Decision to renounce the world was by no means unprecedented in his day. He was one of the many who went forth from society as Shamaras, wandering menacents who committed themselves to lives of physical asceticism, sociological injury, and techniques of mental concentration. Traditional accounts of the Buddha's life identify 2 figures with whom Siddhartha studied, Alara Kalama and Uduraka Ramaputra. From them, he learned to obtain very high levels of mental trance, but not the liberating insight he was seeking. Disenchanted, Siddhartha turned to extreme forms of asceticism in order to conquer his body's primal demands for food, sleep, sex, and sensual enjoyment. After 6 years,
that's okay. That's no. You understand? So basically, he just gave up everything, right? And he seek for the truth. At first, he studied with 2 teachers to attain some kind of meditative state of mind. But he was not satisfied, so he took off to practice some kind of self-torture. Even in India, still to practice nowadays, like standing one leg for the whole day. Yeah, or lying down on the nail bed, for example, or just put the arm out for the whole days. So the idea is that they want to torture the body so that they would not have any suffering, but actually it adds on more suffering. That's why later on he gave up. You like to read this?
After 6 years of harsh
ascetic
practices,
Siddhartha
was on the verge of dying of starvation. He realized that his death point for
open to you.
okay, thank you. Before he had attained enlightenment, would only leave taking to burn. Resolved to fortify his body with food so that he could make his final effort to gain the truth. He encountered a young woman named
Sujata.
who gave him a meal of milk rice when the 5 ascetics who had been following him as the teacher was that he had eaten, they had become in disgust, convinced that he had given up. Now early alone, Siddhartha sat down beneath the sheltering leaves of Pipapa tree and vowed to sit in meditation for his unlike.
You follow that? So basically, he realizes for her to have self-torture would not lead anywhere. Right? He can stop with that. So he gave up that path and he began to accept the meal rice from a lady. And his friends met him because they thought that he gave up the path. But he seek for the middle path instead of enjoying the life in luxury way, indulging in life. That's one extreme. Another extreme is to torture the body, so you could go the middle way.
That's Sujata's Dharma name.
That's your Dharma name?
That's my Dharma.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. You know what the meaning?
Yes.
What's the meaning?
Well, it's one of the only email characters I think mentioned.
Okay, let's see here. Let's move on.
Next.
Yes.
So, in the paragraph that I read, was it? I know wrong this one. Punishment of the body wasn't really gain him enlightenment.
Yeah.
But was the
No.
Sujata, when she came, was that more of the greater being saying? She was a young girl that was the daughter of the chief of the local tribes.
A lot of interpretations are like, you know, she kind of is like a representation of compassion also, you know.
Because he's on the brink of
the guy calmed down.
well, he's on the brink of death. Like people are apparently afraid to go into the woods or by that tree. They think he's a ghost. He's so skinny, and you know, they say you can see his spine through his stomach.
Sometimes you'll see statues, you know, usually we show like the Buddha looking like a normal weight, but they have some statues, they call it the emaciated Buddha, when he's like so skinny you can see his ribs, like not here, but in the world there are statues like that. And yeah, he was near death, he was spooky looking, like Kirsten is saying, and people were afraid to go around him, but she had compassion, and compassion was one of the things that he needed, that like one of the puzzle pieces put together to become enlightened. And one of the other parts of the puzzle that is coming together here is like the master, like here was saying, is, you know, he started from a life where he had everything, and then he went to this life as like a homeless person starving himself, you know, to have nothing on purpose, to go the opposite direction. And then she comes with compassion and, you know, shows him the middle way, you know. And a good metaphor I've heard for the middle way is, this is also from this is not usually in this part of the story, but it's in other Buddhist texts. It's if a string, like a string instrument, like a guitar, if it's too loose, it doesn't make a sound. But if it's too tight, it snaps. So that's why it's the middle way.
So that's here. So the story is that she was a local girl, and somehow she wished something, and her wish was fulfilled it. And so she cooked the milk rice with the honey and so forth. So accidentally she went to forest and met him, That's why she offered to
But he
him.
wasn't Buddha yet.
Not yet.
He was.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not yet. So that's why he knew this type of self torture, starvation is no use. That's why he gave up that.
Buddha is more of a title than a name, and it means basically awakened one. And at this point, he wasn't awakened yet. He was trying to be, but he wasn't there. So he, at this part of the story, he's still Gautama Siddhartha. It's just like a Indian person's name. There's still Indian people with like names like Siddhartha and Gautama.
You can read this one.
Once Siddhartha has sat beneath the pipal tree, we also call it a Bodhi tree sometimes, anyway, it's a kind of fig tree. The biographies do not move immediately to the conclusion of his quest for inner realization. The journey that has led him from his original aspiration to attain enlightenment through countless lives marked by self-sacrifice and virtuous deeds. Instead, the accounts interject a dramatic scene, the final contest between Siddhartha, a solitary human being intent on finding a way out of the cycle of rebirth, death, and rebirth, and the armies of the Deva Mara, a supernatural being associated with death and rebirth and the desires that lead to samsara.
Somewhere.
Oh, summarize. Yeah, so this is like the turning point of the story after he's had something to eat and he's, contemplated on the middle path and he's contemplated on that act of compassion and his body is no longer falling apart so he can think. He's getting close to where he wants to be to realizing the truth of everything. And then Mara shows up and Mara is, like it says here, I'll elaborate a little bit. Like, if you're not familiar at all with like the way that death and rebirth work in Buddhism and what samsara means, it's like, the goal of Buddhism is to reach an ultimate state where you're no longer like going up and down. You have a stable, balanced place where you basically, like the Buddha knows everything and he's at peace with everything. And on the other hand, samsara is, in normal life, we have bad times and good times, we have bad emotions and good emotions. And if you believe in rebirth, depending on your karma, you can be reborn in a worse life or a better life, back and forth. Sometimes you'll be reborn to a better life, and that's great, but then that ends too, and you end up in a worse life. Buddha was like, I'm done. I want to find a way out of the whole cycle. And so Mara, who basically embodies like the whole thing, he comes and tries to trip Buddha up. He's like, no, you're not going to escape. You're not going to find the truth. And so it's probably going to elaborate more in a second, but yeah, he throws everything at him, both good things and bad things, to try to stop the Buddha. He tries to scare him and he tries to tempt him.
Yeah, in Buddhism, it's called Siddhartha rebirth. This is everything in a circle. So sometimes we born as human. It's not clear. So sometimes we born in heaven. Sometimes we born even animal realms. Sometimes we born some type of demons, so forth. So that's the revolve. And the cycle is like life. Like we can recycle everything: plastic, paper, water, and so forth. In Buddhism, it's not vertical path. You go up forever, go up forever, but you go cycle. So the idea in even in Asian religion or tradition that we just evolve again this type of cycle rebirth, and they do the spiritual practice so that they can get out of that cycle. Imagine that you wake up in the morning, go to work, wake up in the morning to work, and so forth. Sometimes it's boring. Right. So you need to get out, to find some way to get out. That's what the idea is about. Yeah. That's what the samsara is about. The cycle of the birth. Yeah. In Buddhist view, right here. Okay. God realm, human realm, demigod, animal, holy voice, hell realm. In Buddhism, we recognize heavenly beings, heavenly realm, but it's many realm, not one supreme God. And if they go up there, depend upon their blessing, they can stay for million or trillion years, but eventually they may go to different realm. So nothing lasts forever. Even someone come down or fall down to the hell, yeah, they may stay there to pay for the bad karma.
Cycle in.
When the cycle ends, they go up again. This is like cycle. It's a cycle. It's never ending. Yeah, that's what the cycle rebirth is about. Yeah.
I apologize. This has been really interesting, but we're gonna check it out for a little bit. We're meeting people for dinner at 8.
Okay, cool.
But
Yeah,
it's been
we
interesting.
finished.
Yeah.
We finished by FA too. Yeah.
We're gonna start coming.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
please.
I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Oh, good to hear.
Yeah, and Mara. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. So see you then. Okay. Thank you. Take
See you
care.
guys next Friday.
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
See you then.
Nice meeting you.
Yes, thank you. All right. So Ben, you know Mara, right, Ben?
Yeah, Mara.
Well, what's mean by Mara? You know what's mean?
So what I'm understanding is that Mara embodies the cycles of birth, existence, and death, the cycles. So and it's like the tempter that tempted Buddha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did I have that right?
Yeah. Both in the symbolic way and also in the spiritual way too.
Okay.
Yeah. You can ask me.
The story of Mara's attack on the Bodhisattva has drawn the attention of countless artists throughout the Buddhist world. Siddhartha's meditative calm proved so powerful that the deadly forces hurled at him were transformed into flowers of offering that showed gently down. Siddhartha was equally unmoved when, according to some tradition, Mara had sent his beautiful daughters in an attempt to seduce the Bodhisattva. In final attempt to unseat him, Mara insisted that he, not Siddhartha, had a right to the throne of enlightenment by virtue of his previous meritorious deeds. And all of Mara's hordes thundered forth their support. In response, the solitary Bodhisattva reached down and touched the ground, calling upon the earth goddess to bear witness to his countless past deeds of merit. In acknowledgement, the earth gave a great shudder, at which Mara's fearsome elephant bowed down before the Buddha in submission, and Mara and his armies fled in terror. At this moment, hosts of devas arrived to claim Siddhartha's victory and to witness his final illumination.
Mm-hmm. You know this one well, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So, he's, of course, there's like Mara thinks that he's entitled to enlightenment and talks about his merits, and then the solitary Bodhisattva called upon the earth and to bring up all the Jatakas, or is it Jatakas just the names of the tales, or is that what you call his past lives?
That is the past life story.
Okay.
Jatakas
It's-
means the Buddha
It's
past
just
life.
the story, or does so
The
would it?
title. The title.
Okay.
Not there's many Jakata tale.
Right.
There's many stories.
Right.
Jatakas
So-
means the past life.
So anyway, so yeah, he brings up all of his, or calls upon the earth to bring up all of his past life, and then the elephants bow and everybody, they all flee, and his Mara's armies flee, and the Devas proclaim that victory, and then comes this final illumination.
Yeah, so this I like this picture here, Buddha and Mara. Here, see this? This is this picture here.
I have some of these saved. I like that third one. Yeah, I have
This
that one
one?
on my phone. Yeah,
This is beautiful too.
yeah, I like them all.
Mhm.
That's one of my favorite parts of the story. Of course.
And this is a symbolic way too. You know, when we come enough, right? We can pass off any type of solution or obstruction. Otherwise, they come and bother us, right? Ben, you follow Ben?
Yeah. The story of the tempting.
Anand, you follow what's mean by Mara, Anand?
Yes, but I'm not sure in Vietnamese what that term means.
Vietnamese?
Yeah, Mara is
Mara
giống như là
Ma Ba Tuần đấy anh.
dạ mà vậy ông đó chưa bao giờ nghe đó, giờ cái chữ đó cho nên con đang nghe thôi.
Yeah, this is Mara here. Yeah, especially when we do meditation, love challenging mentally and spiritually. That's why sometimes you cannot sit still because of all kind of Mara obstruction in our mind, a lot of temptation, right? Okay, so let's go here. Go ahead, Ben. Can you read, please, Ben?
Okay, let me expand here.
After
this cosmic confrontation, the account of the Buddha's actual enlightenment seems most anticlimactic. He meditated throughout the 3 watches of the night, first attaining knowledge of his past lives, then the power to see the past lives of other beings, the divine eye, and finally insight into the casually conditioned nature of reality. As the sun dawned in the east, he gained perfect omniscience. In response, a thundering earthquake resounded throughout the 10,000 surrounding world systems, and all of nature was momentarily transformed. Knowing that he finally attained an end to rebirth, the Buddha uttered his lion's roar, announcing his victory over the forces of samsara. It is from this moment that he is properly called the Buddha, the Awakened One.
okay, you can summarize.
Yeah, so here we see the actual awakening of the Buddha. He's conquered Mara, and this is where the awakening happens.
So he could remember his past life, right? Not easy. But for us, if we sit still enough, we could remember something happened when we were little, 5, 4, 3. Could you remember?
Some strange things come up when you sit a long time.
Yeah.
Could you remember something when you were that little?
Yeah, sometimes. I had a memory the other day of when I must have been 2 or 3, a song that my mom used to sing to me when I was that age that I haven't even heard since, but it came to my mind.
Ben, could you remember things that you done when you were that little? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, things come up every now and again in meditation.
Yeah, when our mind coming up, right? Okay, good. So, and he could foresee. He could foresee the future too.
Ty, What does it mean by the lion's roar? What is that?
It's mean when he speak, right? When he speak Dharma, right? With his strong voice, determined voice. That's why is it like when the lion roar? Understand?
Doesn't he also, one of the marks of the Buddha, doesn't he have the jaw of a lion
But
also?
but the important is you know when someone have too much energy, when they say this is so powerful. You understand, Ben?
Yeah, now it makes
You
sense.
look at the leaders, right? The president and whoever, right? Some of their voice is so beautiful, it's so powerful. So that's why when the Buddha spoke the Dharma, oh, his speak it was so powerful. It's like a lion roar. You follow that?
Yes.
Yeah, Anand, you have new question, Anand? It is understandable, right?
Yes, I understand it. Yeah, thank you, sir.
What do you think? Yeah, about we don't know how could we come here, right? And we don't know where we heading to, right? Right. That's why we need to do some kind of meditation to cool our mind out, and we do some practice, and even some nothing about Tibetan monk, but Vietnamese, any Buddhist monk or nun, if they practice sincerely, they could foresee the future, even for their own life and others. But otherwise, it's just not easy. It's not easy. Only when you really focus, your mind can see that. All right, okay. You done reading that, Ben, right?
Yeah, you want me to continue?
No, let Sam read that. Okay.
Okay.
The accounts go on to describe the 7 weeks following the Buddha's enlightenment, during which he meditated 7 different places before deciding to share his liberating knowledge with others.
Okay. All right, get this done. So he get after his enlightenment, right? Yeah, after his enlightenment, he went to 7 places, but actually, so some story or record it say that he just walked around the Bodhi tree for 7 weeks. How about this? You can read this one here. The defeat of Mara.
The defeat of Mara in Buddhist art. The striking contrast between the equanimity of the seated figure of Siddhartha, wrapped in meditation, and the encircling chaos of Mara's armies, attacking the Bodhisattva with wave upon wave of violent assaults, invited graphic representation in Buddhist art. The victory over Mara became an important subject for Southeast Asian Buddhist artists beginning around the 11th century as the Theravada tradition grew in prominence in the region. An interesting Thai version on this scene highlights the role of the earth goddess who rises up beneath the throne of enlightenment and wrings out her hair. The deluge that rushes forth symbolizes the bodhisattva's included merits from past meritorious deeds, washes away Mara's hordes.
Let's see, all right. There's the image right here.
Yeah. Well, to summarize, just talking about how, this important part of the story has, inspired a lot of people who, many of them create a lot of art because, I mean, just the climax of, the Buddha is like so calm and he can't be bothered, while Mara is like trying everything, all this nice stuff, like tempting him with his daughters and all the scary stuff, like all the armies and, monsters and stuff. And Buddha's just like, I'm not worried about it. I'm meditating. And, in some versions, the earth goddess shows up to help him in different ways. I don't think I'd heard the story where she does the hair, but I have definitely heard stories where she helps him in one way or another.
Yeah, she when when Maharaj say that, oh, well, you have no right. I'm one that control this samsara. So he touched. I mean that Siddhartha
this is the one I heard.
touched it around and say that the goddess should would certify me. To see that I would attain enlightenment.
Yeah, she vouches for him because like he's meditating and he touches the earth because Mara's like who can say that you've earned this and she comes and she's like well I've been here the whole time because I'm the earth and you've earned it.
That's a neat too, right?
It's pretty either way. I like it.
You've been in India before?
I have not.
You've been a lot of places.
I've been a lot of places, but I've not been.
In Thailand?
I've been when I was young, was all over Southeast Asia.
Went to Indonesia, I know.
Well, that's where I was. I was born in Indonesia.
You were born there?
I was born in Indonesia.
Oh.
We traveled. My parents traveled a lot. My dad was German, so our family was in Germany, and the mother had American family here. And so when I was young, we traveled a whole lot. But if I did go to India, I don't remember it. Let's see. Many represent. Is that right?
Yeah.
Many representations of the Mahabodhi shrine at Bodh the site of the Buddha's victory over Mara and subsequent enlightenment, appear throughout Burma and China.
Yeah, I've been there in 1998. I went there and stayed for a month. Later on, I went to Darmstadt to stay for another 9 months.
I would like to get on the top of my list is subcontinental Asia.
Okay. So in Burma they have a lot of temples with interesting art.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't know very much about Burma, honestly. I know that they have some political problems, but that's all I know about it.
Here, this one here is just a Buddha tree here. You see it on?
Oh yeah, that's in India, of course. Yeah, that's
India.
I want to go there so much. I hope to go there in the next year or two, but definitely before I die, I need to go there and see it.
Yeah, you can see that especially many Tibetan monks, they bow down the whole body around that trees, around that Buddha tree. Bodhigaya. This is the pagoda temple that Ashoka built in the 3rd century BCE. We still sit nowadays. Without him, we would not know the exact place that Buddha attained enlightenment. So this is the most famous one that people can go there. Yeah, this is what we call here. This is Vajra or diamond seed that the Buddha sat beneath this tree. This tree is not the original one, the 3rd generation. Yeah. So Ben, you follow?
A long time ago.
More than 2,500 years. So the original one was cut down by Queen of Ashoka. And so, but before that, so his daughter and son brought a branch of this tree to Sri Lanka. So when the queen cut down, so they implant back. That's mean the 3rd one.
Very beautiful, important.
Yeah. Anand, you have not been in India before, right, Anand?
I have been to India for work once, but was very limited. But never have a chance to actually go to these historical places.
Oh, really? Oh, so you went to India for work before?
Yep, I went to Delhi and then mainly there and for 2 weeks. And basically, we stay in the hotel and work, and maybe on the weekend we were able to see typical tourist spot, Taj Mahal, things like that, but not any religious faced
Yeah, it's so
stations.
hard.
One of the reasons I learned a lot of Hindi is because, you know, it's what they speak in the north, in a lot of places, like where these sites, these important Buddhist sites are. And since I know I want to go there, and I've heard that they will take advantage of tourists, I learned Hindi so I can
Mhm.
get better deals and not get scammed. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where
I don't know, they are awfully, if you watch videos, I
Yeah.
mean, even some of your most world traveled, you know, that, I mean, getting scammed, unfortunately, when you're traveling like that is kind of part of it.
Yeah.
you better
Yeah.
know someone over there so that they can
Yeah.
guide you around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Mhm.
Well, I know how to say how much. That's too much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. There's all kinds of really crazy scams with them. The way they'll beg for certain types of food or get you to
Yeah.
get you to go, and then they just turn around and it's crazy. Some of the scams I've seen.
I hope to get a job in India. With my company, I've been trying to get a job over there. But if I get a job there, it would be in the south, and most of the Buddhist stuff is in the north. But yeah, I'd still be a lot closer than I am now.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the image here. You can type Bodhi Gaya. This is the place here. This is right here. And this is the four holy Buddhist public places. Yeah, focus on the north. Yeah, on the north around here, nearby Nepal and so forth.
A bunch of different Buddhist traditions from around the world have temples there, right? Like there's like a Chinese temple and a Tibetan temple and a Japanese temple. It's probably a Buddhist or a Vietnamese temple,
Yeah,
right?
there's plenty over there now. Now, actually, even the nun, they run a Buddhist school. There's one school they run is more than 1,700 children over there.
Wow.
Big, but they don't have enough financial support. They're so poor that it's not easy for them to keep up with. Actually, I can show you here. It is on my. I can talk with them. I am go to support them. Let's see here.
Oh, you talk to them?
No, I just spoke with them.
That's
Let me
awesome.
share with you. All right, so Ben and Anand, just wait for me. Let me pull out my clip here. They're so poor. They're so poor that the nun they bought for them the school supply, the shoe, everything, almost everything. Let me share with you guys here. They will organize this.
Could you have a chance to explain or give us some history behind even the Buddha was kind of enlightened and was born
I
in
see.
India. In India, why would in India we don't have as much Buddhism as a faith, but it's kind of spread out more outside of India?
Oh, okay. We learn bit by bit. We learn bit by bit later on, but in general, so India is the you can say the religious country. Seriously, let me share with you this one here. Okay. Yeah, eventually, Anand, eventually we cover that type of information. Yeah, sorry, I could not find. Anyway, I will share with you next time. So one more time, what's your question, Anand?
I just got curious as to as Buddha was born and the teaching was in around India, and how come over the years the Buddhism is not as popular in India?
Oh, okay.
More so than outside India, like Sri Lanka,
I
Burma.
see. Okay.
Why not India as an example? But we all go back to visit pilgrimage in India. I'm sure there's some history, but I don't know enough about to know kind of the root historical perspective.
Okay, so let's step first one. So basically, we know, right? In India, up to now, they classify people in 4 different classes, right? The priest, right? The royal or the government one, the business one, and the last one is the slave one. So when the Buddha spread his teaching, he accept everyone, regardless of their status in society. That's go against the Brahmin or the Hindu traditions. So basically, they don't want to have any Buddhist idea to liberate people from their own class status. So it's been for more than 2,500 years. So Buddhism spread around the country, but until the end of the 12th century or the early 13th century, when the Muslim invade.
Yeah, the Muslim and the Christian. Yeah.
Actually, the Muslim and the Christian invade North India. They wipe out Buddhism. They kill thousands Buddhist monks. They destroy so many Buddhist temples. You can say that's the demise or the end of Buddhism.
I mean, that's how the Pali Canon ended up in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka was protected, or this is my understanding, was protected from a lot of the invading Muslims that were coming through India that, go across the ocean, that Buddhism was able to be preserved there. Where it wasn't so much in the main.
So two main languages that Buddhism was written down: Sanskrit and Pali. So during the 3rd century BC, so King Ashoka started to write something about Buddhism in Sanskrit or Prakrit. And actually they have that type of learning in Nalanda University. That's one of the oldest university. And later on, Buddhism spread to Sri Lanka. And actually, according to this Theravada tradition, they say that the first ever time that the Buddha teaching was written down in Pali was in Sri Lanka. So by the 13th century, the Muslim they kill Buddhist monks, thousands Buddhist monks, destroy Buddhist monastery and burn even Nalanda library for 6 months. That's burned out mostly the Sanskrit canon. And from that time on, from the 13th century up to the early 20th century, Buddhism spread to other countries, not much in the Indian continents. Yeah, we can learn about that later on, Anand. Yeah, in this book. Yeah,
I've studied that a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Thầy.
And I also, we're out of time, but I'll say briefly that, this is still ongoing. I'm friends online with a Buddhist in India who talks about his struggles there, where, he's fighting legal battles because, in India, the Hindu majority, or, a lot of in India, there's most of the Buddhists in India are either in the Himalayas, and they are more similar to the Tibetan Buddhists, or there's another kind of Buddhists that are the lower caste Indian people who are ethnically like the rest of India, but they're the lowest caste and they have left Hinduism because of the caste system. And of course, the Hindu people who believe in caste, especially the upper caste people, they don't like that. And so they try to not just attack the lower caste people, but they also try to attack Buddhism. And it's been that way for thousands of years. So the short answer to your question is politics, I would say.
Yeah, they got control the mass, especially the Brahmin priests, the Hindu priests. They don't want to destroy the system, but the Buddha advocates the class liberation. That's one of the Ben, you follow Ben?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so time is up. Let us end today. And we can